Hi, so today I'm going to teach you how to make this adorable little newborn baby hat. Excuse my voice, I have a cold, I'm so sorry, but it's easy to crochet when you're sick, so that's what I did. It is made up of a few different kinds of stitches. We have a cuffed little brim right here. And then it works into a really cute stitch on the hat part, and then of course a little pom-pom. So like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a pattern for a matching afghan on there with a tutorial on how to make the matching afghan, so you have a little layette. I also am working on a wrap, like an actual little wrap that you can put the baby in. And that'll be up in a little bit, probably in the next 2 weeks. So subscribe so you get a notification for that. For this project, I used Bernat Baby Sport. It's a white, kind of sparkly white. It has a little sheen to it. I don't know. I just love this yarn for my baby projects because I'm kind of a sparkly girl. It is a, it takes a 4mm hook, but I actually used a 5mm hook for this yarn, and it turned out fine. So I would suggest using a 5mm hook. The yarn weight is, I think, 10.5 ounces. Let me look here. Yes, it was 10.5 ounce weight, 300 grams, and it's really easy to work with. So instead of a number 4 hook, go ahead and use a number 5 hook. You'll need a hook, you're going to need a yarn needle, you're going to need a pair of scissors, and then you will need some sort of little template to do a pom-pom. But I'm not going to show you how to do the pom-pom in this video. You'll need to go to my channel and watch a pom-pom tutorial if you don't know how to do it already. I have one up on my channel. Okay, so let's get started. So to start this little hat, you have to excuse my voice, I have a little cold. You're going to make a slip knot. So to do that, you take your yarn, you take 2 fingers and twist around, and then you grab the piece of yarn that's attached to your ball, leaving the extra little piece alone. Then you insert your hook, and then you're going to chain 10. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, till you have 10 loops on your hook. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next, you're going to want to chain 1, and then you're going to go into the loop closest to your hook, not the one that your hook is attached to, but the next one over. You're going to go into it and you're going to do a single crochet. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. You're going to go find your next loop, go into it, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And you're going to do that all the way back 10 times. This is called a single crochet. Okay, once you're done, you're going to count and make sure you have 10 loops, because it's very easy to drop a loop and then your work ends up getting a little askew. So make sure this whole step of the hat you have 10 every row. you'll get to where you know you do, but if you're a beginner, go ahead and count your loops to make sure that you have 10. So at the end of your row, you're going to chain 1, so just yarn over and pull through. You're going to turn your work, and then you're going to find a little V. If you look at the top of your stitches, you can see they're kind of in little V's, and the first V closest to your hook, not the one your hook is attached to, but the first one closest to it, you're going to go in and you're going to put your hook in just the back loop of the V only. So back loop, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. That's another single crochet, but we're going to do back loop single crochet the rest of this part of the pattern. So from here on out, all we're doing is back loop single crochets. So I'm finding the back, yarn over, pull through 2, back, pull through 2. So we're going to do this 10 times, and I'm going to teach you how to turn on this, and then you'll be up and running. When you're finished with your row, this is how you're going to turn the rest of this part of the hat. Now we're making the brim of the hat, so your rows are going to be determined by what size you're making, but I'll show you how to turn and then I'll tell you how many rows you need to do. So when you get to the end of your row, you're going to chain 1, you're going to turn your work, and then you're just going to go back in and do back loop single crochets all the way across. And you're just going to repeat this and repeat this and repeat this until you get to the length that you want. So let me show you one more time how to chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to tell you how many rows you're going to need. In this type of stitch, it builds up a nice, because we're just going through the back loop, we're building up a nice flexible brim that's going to stretch with the baby's head. Okay, so once at the end, you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then go back into the back loop only and do a single crochet. So continue your rows until you get to the length that you need, and here is your, so this is your row count for the size of the hat you're going to be making, depending on what size you're making. For a newborn hat, you're going to do 48 rows. For 3 to 6 months, you're going to do 54 rows. 6 to 9 months, 60 rows. 9 to 12 months, 66 rows. So I have done 48 rows, and I am ready to move on to my next step in building the hat. Now this will be my little brim, and it's going to fold up like this and be so adorable on the hat, and we're going to join it later. But first we have more work to do. Once you have finished your rows, you're going to want to chain 1, and my work was facing this way, but now I'm just going to turn it to face this way. So we're going to be working along one of the sides. It doesn't matter which one. And we're going to go into each of these stitches and do a single crochet. So I have an opening right here. I'm going to go in and do just a single crochet. And then I have 2 areas here. So I'm going to go into here with a single crochet, and these can, if you can help keeping them loose, that's great. If not, don't worry about it. But you're going to want to go along the side and just do a series of single crochets. If you just look in the openings of the side, you're going to be able to see where you need to go along the row so that it's fairly even. If it ends up not being 100% stitch count even, that's okay, but we basically want to do nice loose single crochets all through these rows all down the side. So like this one here, it's really tight, and I don't count that as a row. I'm going to go right next to it right there with a single crochet, and then that big gap, and then again it's kind of tight in there, so I'm just going to go in there and there. And my hope is that when you're done, you have enough stitches in multiples of 3. You should, if you've caught each row just once, and then we can start building up the rest of the part of the hat. Once you have finished going along your edge, you need to go back and count your stitches and make sure that you have the correct amount of stitches to match your rows. If you don't, just add a stitch somewhere where you think you might be missing it. I know it's kind of tricky going along the side, but you have to have the right amount of stitches to start the next part of the project. We have to have multiples of 3. So when you're done, go ahead and turn your work. And from the 3rd chain from your hook, so this is going to be the first one here, this is the 2nd, this is the 3rd, we're going to go in and go underneath both stitches. We're going to yarn over, go under, and do a double crochet. So if you haven't done a double crochet, yarn over, go in, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Then we're going to go into that same stitch again underneath. We're going to yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Next, we're going to skip 2 stitches. We're going to find that 3rd stitch, and we're going to go into it with a single crochet. So just a yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to go back into that same stitch with 2 double crochets. So yarn over, go through, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and 1 more double crochet. Yarn over, go into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. You're going to skip the next 2 stitches, go into the 3rd with a single crochet and 2 double crochets, and this is going to be your pattern for the remainder of the hat. So yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, skip 2 stitches, go into the 3rd with a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Skip 2, go into the 3rd with a single crochet and 2 double crochets. And I will meet you back at the end of this row and show you how to turn, and then you'll be well on your way, and this is pretty much the pattern for the remainder of the little hat. So when you get to the end of your row, you're going to have 3 stitches left, and you're going to go into your last stitch and you're just going to do a single crochet, and then you've finished that row. Then you're going to do a chain 1, you're going to turn your work, and you're going to go back into the bottom of that chain 1 space, and you're going to do 2 double crochets. So yarn over, pull through, and pull through 2. So 2 double crochets in that same turning space. Then if you look at the row you just created, you have these little series of seashells, and you have a little gap where your single crochet is, and that's where we're going to be working in from here on out in the pattern. So you're going to take your hook and put it in that little gap area and do a single crochet, and then you'll do 2 double crochets in this same space. You'll move to the next space, do a single crochet and 2 double crochets. Move to the next space, single crochet and 2 double crochets. So you'll continue on in your row until you get to the end, and I will meet you back and show you how to turn again, and then you're just going to do continuous turns until you get to the height of your hat that you're making, and I'll let you know how many rows it's going to be depending on the height that you're doing. So I'll meet you back at the end of this row, show you how to turn. Okay, so I'm just finishing up my last little set of 3 here, and at the end we're going to go into this spot right here and just do a single crochet to attach our little shell. Then we're going to do a chain 1, turn our work, and in the chain 1 space we're going to do 2 double crochets again. So this is how you're going to turn. This pattern is reversible because you just kind of work back and forth on it, and then you go back into your little single crochet space here and do a single crochet and then 2 double crochets, and repeat your pattern until you get the height that you want in rows. So continue back and forth. Turning is fairly easy, and I will meet you back when you're all done with your rows. Okay, so here are the amount of rows that you're going to need depending on the size you're making. If you're making a newborn, you need to do 12 rows. If you're doing 3 to 6 months, do 14 rows. 6 to 9 months, do 16 rows. And 9 to 12 months, do 18 rows. Once you are finished with your row count, you're going to go ahead and tie off your work. So I'm on my last row. I'm going to go into my last little corner here and do a single crochet, and then I'm just going to pull my hook through, or my yarn through, and cut my hook and pull this up tight, and that should be good to go. So I have the I'm going to try and zoom this out a little bit. Okay, I have the hat in a little square. Let me see if I can zoom it out anymore. There we go. Sorry if my tripod's in the way. So I have the hat here in a square now. I have the little cuff that's going to roll up for the brim. And what we're going to do is we are going to stitch it together. It is reversible right now as the pattern stands, so we're going to be fine whichever side we choose. You can get an extra piece of yarn from your skein, or I'm just going to use my little tail here for my starting points because it looks like it's going to be long enough to use. And I'm going to put my yarn needle onto it. And then I'm going to fold my work together, like so. And then I'm going to start stitching, pull that through, simply by putting my yarn through and then coming around and doing it again. So hopefully you can see that. And this will get everything joined up. Okay, once you reach the top, you can either get another piece of yarn, or I had to extend my yarn because it wasn't quite long enough. So I'm just going to continue on, but you can either grab your top yarn piece that you have remaining, or you can thread an entire new piece of yarn, just so you have enough for your stitches. So what we're going to do on the top is we're just going to feed our needle along this top ridge all the way around, back and forth, like so, pulling it through when we run out of space. So not a whole lot of rhyme and reason to it, just getting some good coverage of back and forth with the needle to get the yarn set in place in the top of the hat. So you're not sewing it together, you're just running the yarn back and forth around the perimeter of the hat, so it's still technically open. Okay, once you're all the way around, let me zoom this out again for you. Once you're all the way around, you're going to pull your yarn really, really tight and cinch up the top of the hat. And then you can just start, I have this extra piece of yarn, so common sense would be to just tie it to here in a knot to cinch them together. If you do not have that extra piece of yarn, you can just kind of start looping through where your needle is at, and then go through the loop again, pulling it tight, and then go through the loop again and pull it tight. And this is how you knot off on a single piece of thread or yarn in regular sewing. And then just because I have this extra piece of string here, I'm just going to tie it again just for a little added bonus. And then you can cut your strings, but I wouldn't cut them too short because you want to tie your pom-pom to them. Next, you're going to want to turn your hat right side out and tie on your pom-pom. And I got an extra little string there. I have a pom-pom making tutorial on my channel, so you're welcome to follow that. You would just make your pom-pom a little bit smaller. It's for a pretty big pom-pom. So the pom-pom you're going to want to make is going to be small. It's only going to be about 2.5 inches to fit on top of this hat. So just remember that when you're winding around. But go ahead and watch the tutorial. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, because I have the tutorial for the blanket that matches this on there, and then also I'm working on a actual snuggle wrap that's going to match this. The blanket's going to be up before the wrap, but the wrap is almost done, so click subscribe so you'll get a notification when that is out, and you will have a complete little layout for a newborn.